So this session today is called, well, it's all about the heart, isn't it? I was telling Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, thank you.
Hare Krishna. I was telling my god sister that I did a slideshow presentation. I was putting hearts everywhere, and then I thought, oh no, it's a bit. Better take that away. It looked a bit, what did they say, cheesy or something? But it's, thank you very much, Hare Krishna. So the heart, we're going to move on to the next slide. So this is a beautiful thing. We can say it together. Sarunam, Hirdayam, Twaham. And the translation is that the heart of a devotee is the residence of Lord Krishna. It's so beautiful. And wow, what a beautiful picture. Krishna and Srila Prabhupada. So the quality of the exchanges that we have with one another is dependent upon our relationship with Krishna. So Krishna is the center of the absolute, the absolute center of our exchanges with each other. And to the effect that we can inspire each other in hearing and chanting and kata, transcendental kata, to that extent we can be successful in the relationships, in our Vaishnava connection and the relationships we have with each other. So we're going to unpack some things today. We've got some beautiful verses. Actually, I think there's a beautiful, beautiful, Krishna and the Jiva. It's all about love, isn't it? And I'm going to read you, not that one, I'm going to go back because I'm going to read you this beautiful verse that I came across in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila, and just meditate on this as I'm reading it. Just as the celestial waters of the Ganges flow unobstructed into the ocean, so when my devotees simply hear of me, their minds come to me. I reside in the hearts of all. That was very, very beautiful, I thought. And here as well, this is Lord Vishnu talking to Devotee Muni. Of course, in the 9th canto, we have the beautiful pastime of Maharaj Ambarish and Devotee Muni. And when Devotee Muni is being chased by the Sudarshan Chakra, he goes to Lord Brahma, please help me. He said, I can't help you. He goes to Lord Shiva, he says, please help me. He said, I cannot help you. And he goes to Lord Vishnu, and Lord Vishnu speaks this beautiful verse. Saints are my heart, and only I am their hearts. They do not know anyone but me, and therefore I do not recognize anyone besides them as mine. So that it's such a beautiful beautiful verse. He said, you must go yourself to Maharaj Ambarish and beg forgiveness. So I'm going to hand over to Nirakula, and she's going to introduce the next topic of our little session here today.
We thought it would be nice to base our discussion on the Nectar of Instruction, verse 4, and I'll read the English of that. It's offering gifts in charity, accepting charitable gifts, revealing one's mind in confidence, inquiring confidentially, accepting prasad, and offering prasad are the 6 symptoms of love shared by one devotee and another. And as souls, we need loving relationships, and we have that eternal loving relationship with Krishna, but we're not at that point yet. I should speak for myself. I'm not at that point where I can always feel that love of Krishna. So I feel his love through his reciprocation with me through the devotees. And so one of those ways is through acts of kindness. And while preparing for this, I was thinking of all the many, many acts of kindness that have been shown to me over the years. And one thing that has had, I'll tell of a few personal ones, but one thing that came to mind was devotees who have empowered me to do service or have shared service with me or given me service to do. It really has turned out to be one of the biggest acts of kindness or acts of kindness in my life. I started helping the devotee I was in Los Angeles, and I started helping the devotee Jalasayi. She was in charge of the free feast. So I became her helper. And we had our first Rath Yatra in 1977. And after a few years, she couldn't continue it, so she passed that responsibility of managing the free feast for the Rath Yatra to me. And I still do it. I passed on the management of it to someone else, but by Lord Jagannath's mercy and Prabhupada's mercy, I still am able to do that every year. And so that was in 1977, and I've been through a lot of changes, and the movement has been through a lot of changes. LA has been through a lot of changes, so many things. But having that anchor of that, even though it was a yearly service, there was all the planning every year and the shopping and so many things. I'd go down a week before Rath Yatra, and so I felt like I had Rath Yatra for the whole week and not just the day. But and of course I was working, so I had to plan that I would have that time off. And so it really anchored me throughout my whole year. And I'm just thinking back, that was just one of the nicest things that a devotee could have done for me. And even when I first joined, Manjuali was the temple president's wife, and she was exceptionally kind to me. She still is. I had an hour-long conversation with her just the other day, and she's so full of encouragement, kind words, wonderful realizations. But I was fortunate enough to have her as my mentor when I first joined the temple, and she was always encouraging me, always giving me service. So that was something that when I was thinking of acts of kindness. And then on the other side of empowering someone, I was a young devotee. I was 17 when I joined, and so I remember walking into the sewing room and admiring what the seamstress was doing. She was sewing for the deities, and I said, "Oh, I'd love to learn how to do that." And she said, "No, you could never learn how to do this. She said, I've been doing this for many years, and now I take full responsibility for not moving ahead with that. But you never know who you're talking to. Are you talking to someone who's going to think, I'll show you, and take it to heart and learn how to do it, and learn how to do it really well? Or will your words put someone in a place where they feel they're not empowered to do something like that? They couldn't ever do a service. So I just wanted to show the two sides of that, how effective what we say to one another is.
So you're saying a little act of kindness can go a long way.
Yes.
But a few negative or harsh words can actually really impact your devotional, your enthusiasm.
And as I said, I take full responsibility for that. But when you remember something like that, obviously it had an impact. And then in the early years, I was in my early 20s, I had a lot of personal strife in my life, even though I was, a devotee and chanting and following the principles. And but I had been married before, and it was not a very good situation. And at one point, it became very, very difficult, and I was very stressed out. And it was Radhastami of 1976. And I was a pujari, and I didn't go to the temple. I didn't go take care of the deities. I mean, I made sure someone else did, but I didn't go to one of my favorite holidays at the temple, Radhastami. And I could still see the devotee who I did service with, Deva Mata. I lived a few blocks away from the temple. This was in LA. So knock at my door, and I open the door, and there's Deva Mata with a garland and a plate of prasadam. And I still get very emotional about it because it saved me. You know, that I felt like the deities had sent her. I felt like she had gone out of her way to do this simple thing. And it really made an impression on me. And as I said, I feel like it saved me. It kind of turned my consciousness at that time. So that was another personal experience that I had of loving exchanges with a god sister. And then I thought too of how when the Digvijay came, you know, this puffed up big scholar, and Mahaprabhu was Nimai at the time, and he was very well-known Pandit in Nadia in Navadvip. But the Digvijay thought, he's just a young boy, I can come and conquer him without any problems. But obviously he wrote some verses on the Ganges and he made mistakes, and the Lord pointed it out to him. And when the devotees who were when his Mahaprabhu's students, Nimai's students were with him, they started laughing, and Nimai stopped them. He stopped them. He said, no. And so he told the Digvijay to go home and study and just, see where you made the mistake and what you can do. And when the Digvijay went home, he had a dream from Saraswati, who came to him and said, I couldn't dance on your tongue. I couldn't give you the intelligence to speak properly because he's the Lord. And I was humbled in front of him. I was chaste and humbled, and I couldn't provide you with the knowledge that you needed. And so the Digvijay could understand that Nimai was the Lord, and he went back the next day, and the Lord very nicely accepted his apology and sent him on his way, a changed person. So I always appreciate how Lord Chaitanya treated such a person with such stature, that he didn't let the other devotees laugh at him. He protected that stature as much as he could.
Thank you for sharing that. Thank you so much. So, in the 11th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, Lord Krishna is speaking to Uddhava. Lord Krishna was about to leave the planet, and Uddhava was inquiring from him, where can I get guidance? Where can I find shelter? So it's a long section, very beautiful. Krishna says, first look within, the Guru, and then tells the story of the Avaduta Brahman and how the Avaduta Brahman saw his gurus everywhere. But then lastly, he said, seek out the shelter of sadhus, of a sadhu. And this morning, and actually all throughout this retreat, because we're talking about the heart of Krishna, and we've heard about sadhu sangha. This morning, Gauranga Prabhu was saying that sadhu sangha has the power to transform hearts. So why do we all need sadhu sangha? Well, Srila Prabhupada created this ISKCON society so that we could all associate together. Just like we're coming here for this beautiful retreat, in our tradition, like I was thinking of the first Gaur Purnim festival that was held by Janava, where devotees came from all different places, and they came together to hear and discuss and glorify Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So just like that, we are all coming for Sadhu Sangha. This is a very large gathering, but similarly, we come together in small groups, which are more intimate maybe, and maybe some of us feel more comfortable in that situation. We need the Sadhu Sangha. Why do we need it? Because we all have a common interest. We want to make advancement in spiritual life. So we have a common interest, so we're going to associate with those who are have the same mindset. I'm a gardener, so I love analogies. Well, it's not really an analogy, but it's just the beautiful kind of visual of how a devotee can blossom in the association of other devotees. And you can get reassurance, I don't know who's ever had the experience that you've had an issue or you've had a problem, and you speak to a devotee and they say exactly the right thing that you need to hear. Who's had that experience? Put your hand up. Yeah, absolutely. So we need reassurance that we're on the right path. We also need encouragement because spiritual life is not stagnant. It's always moving, and we're always trying to move up towards our goals. This morning, my husband also posted that slide, said, know your goals. So we need to know where we can go, or where we want to go, and also we need the encouragement of devotees to help us take those next steps. So, we need, I'm going to go on to this next slide because, whoops. Oh, that's just another actual quote from Lord Krishna to Uddhava. One should therefore avoid bad company and associate only with devotees. With their realized instruction, such saints can cut the knot, connecting one with activities unfavorable to devotional service. So it's not that we can only associate with devotees. Many of us in our lives, we have jobs and maybe families who are not, Krishna conscious. So as much as possible, we are going to give association to them. It could be in the form of prasadam or acts of kindness, as Nirakula said. But when we want to take association, we go to those who are on the same path as us, our elders, or those who are on, our peers, and like that. It works really well. Like this morning I was thinking about it because during the Guru Puja we were dancing in concentric circles, right? You were there. We had one circle, then another circle. So this is it's actually done by a social scientist called Robin Dunbar. But it just shows you, because as Vishaka knows, at Bhaktivedanta Manor, we have a huge community. There's so many people. And it's not actually possible to get to know each and every one of it. It's just too hard. It is a little overwhelming sometimes if you tried to do that. Remember everyone's name even. It's challenging. So these are just circles of your kind of concentric circles that are around each and every one of us. 5 intimates might just be your close family. And then it says 10 best friends, but I would say if you have 1 or 2, even 2 best friends, you're very fortunate. Those friends that will be there for you, that will do anything for you, lend you money, that you can reveal your mind to. There's a quote from Shakespeare. He said, if you find a good friend, bind him to you with a rope of steel. So if you have a good friend, keep him close to you. And, all these loving exchanges, Priti Lakshanam, that we're talking about today, make sure you engage in that way with the beautiful principles of Priti Lakshanam. So we have good friends, we have casual friends, and then, there's an ocean, hopefully, an ocean of devotees that, we all have our little tribes, we kind of veer to those people that we feel comfortable with and maybe have some of the similar ideas that we do, like in terms of their practice. But that's a good thing, to find your tribe. But I would also say, don't be so insular that it becomes cliquey, but actually, sometimes try to, venture out from your little tribe and mix with others of a different kind of Krishna Sangha tribe, if that makes any sense, because otherwise it can become kind of a little bit cliquey. And we don't want anyone to ever feel that, they're kind of a clique and, and they're not welcome. So those are just some thoughts regarding our circle of, not influence, but our circle of association, I guess you would call it. So yeah,
Emily,
carry on. We're kind of moving into confidentiality, the area of confidentiality, because those are two of the loving exchanges, revealing your mind in confidence and exchange. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Would you like to speak a little bit about that?
I can do that.
Yeah.
We both are, though.
Yeah, well, we're both. You go ahead
Okay.
first.
When we reveal our minds and hearts to someone else, it's probably, we assume that it's in confidence, but it should always be made clear. If you're going to someone who isn't a very close confidential friend all the time, if you're going to someone for advice or to get encouraged in some way, and you're sharing information that is delicate, that we wouldn't want to get out to anyone outside of who you're speaking to, it's important to state that, I'd like to reveal what's in my mind and heart confidentially. And so that helps to build trust. And that's very, I'm sure you all know, that's very important. It's important in any relationship, but especially if you're going to someone that you want to really share what's deep in your heart. If it's something troubling you, you want that space to be able to speak honestly and to be vulnerable, knowing that, hoping that you won't be judged and that whatever you're telling will be held in confidence. Because to be able to really reveal our hearts and minds, we have to be vulnerable. We have to not judge ourselves for needing help, and then also hope that we're not being judged by the person that we're speaking to. When Indra, after his big debacle with Govardhan Hill, he had a realization, I made a big mistake there, a big blunder. So he came with Surabhi, cow, to see Krishna, and he wanted to beg forgiveness. And I'm just going to read this verse. It's 10:27-2. Indra was very ashamed of having offended the Lord. Approaching him in a solitary place, Indra fell down and lay his helmet, whose effulgence was as brilliant as the sun, upon the Lord's lotus feet. And the purport, Srila Prabhupada's purport, is it Prabhupada's purport? No, it's not. The specific solitary place where Indra approached Krishna is mentioned by the sage Sri Payana in the Harivamsa. He saw Krishna sitting at the base of Govardhan Hill. From the commentaries of the Acharyas, we understand that Lord Krishna wanted to provide a solitary meeting place for Indra, so he would not be further humiliated. Indra came to surrender and beg forgiveness, and the Lord allowed him to do it privately. So that says a lot right there, that the Lord, just like when Lord Chaitanya did it with the Digvijay, the Lord Krishna did it with Indra, because Indra had such a big position, and the Lord wanted to give him that privacy where he would be able to be completely vulnerable, not worried about what everybody around was thinking, what he would be saying. I found that really very touching.
Thank you. I was thinking that we have a lot of superficial relationships. I know, because we were talking about our circle of associate or whatever, around us, and we're all like Haribol, 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 which is all lovely, but and how are you and this and that, which is all lovely because we're kind of social animals, but yeah, we need to go deeper in our relationships. So within our close friends, but also within our sangha groups, just sharing and reflecting. And going deeper, true association means impelling each other forward in Krishna consciousness. So, in regards to confidentiality, obviously you become very vulnerable when you kind of open your heart up. I think Chanakya Pandit says, you should be honest with your lawyer, your accountant, your doctor or something. It's hard to open yourself up and be vulnerable in a group or even to an individual, but doing so by being honest and open, you get so much back as well, as long as you're in a trusting sort of situation. But sometimes it's a bit challenging. Like for years, both of us, we lived in the ashram, Brahmacharini ashram, right, with many ladies, and there's some kind of an expression. Well, you can have, I don't know what it's like in the brahmachari ashram. You can ask the boys, but you can have 2 mustaches together, but I won't say the rest of it. So it can be challenging, but within our communities of friends or ashrams, sometimes we can rub against each other, right? Does that happen? Yeah. Conflicts arise. Sometimes I've been called upon to mediate, between devotees, but sometimes we should reflect on these situations and kind of see, maybe this is Krishna trying to tell me something in this particular situation. They say sometimes when you see rough stones and they rub together when the ocean goes in and out, they become smooth pebbles. Or sometimes when, grinding sandalwood, grinding. So it's not like, sometimes relationships are a bit challenging, but we can learn and grow and hopefully become better devotees through that if we have the right channels to not vent, but share or express or reveal our minds. Then in safe spaces, then we can learn and grow through these things.
Something you said reminded me, because I think about living in ashrams. Living in communities has its pluses and it has its challenges as well. And so I remember reading a letter first hearing about it when I was a new devotee, and then reading it later on. It was a letter written in 1972 to Aitreya Rishi. Srila Prabhupada wrote to him, and of course, we don't have the letter that Aitreya Rishi wrote, but we have the letter that Srila Prabhupada wrote back to him. And Prabhupada was telling him that not to expect, I think he must have brought up the word utopia, because Prabhupada told him, don't expect utopia. There's no utopia in the spiritual world, he said. That even in the spiritual world, there are conflicts and there is envy. He said it's envy without malice. It's transcendental envy, so there's no malice. And Prabhupada went on to describe how, the gopis see another gopi doing such nice service, and they think, I'd like to do nice service like that, or better service. But Prabhupada said it's without malice. And so that really helped me to understand that just because I joined a spiritual movement, that is not going to be utopia.
Absolutely.
When Prabhupada said it, really helped me
Absolutely.
Have a better understanding.
Yeah.
It's in the database if anybody wants to read the full letter. It's a beautiful letter.
Thank you. Yeah, we can share it. One thing I was thinking as well, because we have a very large community, not just around the manor, but I'm sure in all, Manchester, Birmingham, Nottingham even has, all these communities that we have. And sometimes because many families, there's lots of social events, which are all very lovely. Lots of fun and lots of kirtan sometimes and dancing and all that. But we have to have a balance between those kind of social ways of socializing, social ways of associating, and association that actually really helps us to drive us forward, or help us move forward in our Krishna consciousness. So having a balance between that social Haribol, that kind of social kind of, although, we're all social animals, so we do love to socialize. But we want to, as I stated at the beginning of this presentation, that Krishna is in the center of our exchanges, because Krishna is in each other's hearts. So what we're going to talk about now a little bit, because we have a little bit of time, but I wanted to share a story with you. And forgive me if you know this story already, but it's not from the Bhagavatam. It's actually a little Chinese story. And what it was is, there was a man that approached a wise man and he said, "Can you please show me heaven and hell?" So he was actually a mystic, so he took the person on a visionary thing to show him hell. First he went to show him hell. And he went there and it was beautiful blue sky and green pastures and all that. But in the distance he could hear groaning and crying and, just all anguish. And so as he went closer, as you can see in this photo, there was a big pot of soup in the middle, and these people that were in hell, they had these long wooden spoons attached to their arms, and they were trying to feed themselves, but they couldn't get the spoon into their mouths. It was very frustrating for them because they were very hungry. So then he said, "Okay, I can understand. These people it's very hellish, so please show me heaven." So he took him again to another place. It looked very much the same, blue sky, green pastures, but he could hear laughter and cheerful sounds. And when he went closer, he saw that with the long spoons, same long spoons, but they were actually feeding each other. So what I'm getting onto is the moral of the story, of course, is about service and serving each other. And we've seen such a nice, beautiful example of it this weekend. So many devotees, to bring this whole event together, serving so selflessly. Serving together, I would say, well, I don't know how many of you have seen the mosaic at Bhaktivedanta Manor. Put your hand up if you've seen that. I know some of you have actually participated in that. But they say if a family serves together, what do they say? Family
Prays
together, stays together. I would say if you serve together, it really helps to create bonds. And I know when we did that particular mosaic project, actually, it wasn't even about the final product, which was so beautiful in the end. And if you haven't seen it, please come to Bhaktivedanta Manor and see these beautiful mosaics that we did for Shri Radha Gokulananda to commemorate their 50th anniversary. But actually coming together and doing something in service for Krishna, it brought devotees close together, and actually devotees that we had never talked to, that we just said, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, we got to sit around and share together, and we listened to classes together, and we reflected. So, just coming together to do service. I know you probably have been involved with things for the deities, or any kind of project, or even coming together and having a little, whatever it is, reading club, knitting club, but any time that you can come together in service, cooking together, whatever little project you can think of. I know that we have these devotees here from Nashville, Tennessee. They come the furthest, so we got to give them a clap.
Haribol!
Yeah, but they have a little community, and they, and they have a little project that they have, and devotees serving together. So it's just a really lovely thing, and I think we're going to just share a few stories of not just service, but because that particular analogy was about prasadam, our favorite topic, prasadam. So I think we really...
Can I just say one thing about the service?
Yeah.
As many of you know, or maybe don't know, Guru was a book distributor many years ago in Chicago, was one of the places. Mm-hmm. And my husband was stationed there at the same time, and he was brahmachari, so they never really did Sankirtan together. But he has a camaraderie, he has a bond with her. He says, we've been in the trenches together. So even you don't have to do service side by side. There's that bond that over the years, you'll see. You feel it, it's tangible.
Yeah, that's such a lovely, that's so beautiful what you said. And actually, once we had a kind of a sharing session at the Manor, and I said, the thing that I've really appreciated is being a part of I've been a part of lots of teams throughout my Krishna conscious life. I was on the Sankirtan team, and I was on the Gurukul team, I was on the Brahmacharini team, and it's so wonderful actually working and serving together, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, together serving, and you become close, and you never forget those devotees. I have devotees that I haven't seen for years, but when I do meet with them, there's a bond, a natural bond that is there through the service that you shared and even the challenges that you shared as well.
Exactly.
So, yeah, we're going to go on to our favorite topic, which is serving and honoring prasadam. And of course, you're all, so familiar with, how wonderful it is to, I'm sure many of you cook for each other, but I personally had the opportunity when I was on the Sankirtan party in England, once a month we would visit Mother Yamuna. And for her, cooking was a meditation. Before she began cooking, she would actually say the Om Jnana Timiranda, she'd say the Mangal Charana, because it was a meditation for her. She was cooking for Krishna. So we had the opportunity to actually be with her on this, to actually witness and observe her in action, cooking for the devotees. She cooked actually for her deities, Sri Sri Radhabana Bihari. Then she served us the prasadam. Then she read to us while we honored the prasadam. And of course, she learned from Srila Prabhupada. The first time she visited the temple, Srila Prabhupada got her preparing the prasadam, and then he also he prepared all the prasadam for the wedding feast of Mukunda and Janaki, and then he served it. And actually last night we were watching the film, the Hare Krishna film that Yadabar and Vishaka have put together, and it was said that Srila Prabhupada, in the early days, Srila Prabhupada cooked a lot for the devotees. By himself, for 200 devotees, it said.
Cooked and cleaned up after it.
Sometimes people say to me, how is it that what's your secret? Why are your children devotees? How is it that your children are devotees? And one of the things that I always share is that I was very conscious to always offer whatever I gave to them. They say you are what you eat. And I know we live in a very fast age, and it's very easy to just open a packet and, Hare Krishna, or, but I'm convinced about the power of prasadam. I've seen the power, we talked about the power of association, transforming, but I've seen the power of prasadam. When we used to do Sankirtan in the airport in Chicago, O'Hare Airport, there was a lot of, we would get a lot of challenge from some of the workers in the airport. They became envious when they saw us distributing books and, collecting Lakshmi for the books and things. But we had one devotee who used to go from terminal to terminal with prasadam, and we would give them plates of prasadam. Sometimes they were a little reluctant, but when we saw over time, over 2 years, I saw some of those a little bit antagonistic and even aggressive airport workers become transformed and favorable. So serving and giving prasadam, it really isn't an ordinary thing. It's what Prabhupada said is one of our secret weapons. So yeah, maybe you'd like to share something.
I was thinking that in Los Angeles, the Rath Yatra goes along, they call it a boardwalk, it's more like a sidewalk, and every year the Christians, the ones who hell and brimfire, like that, who come out and with their bullhorns and their signs that we're all going to hell and Jesus is the way, and there was this one man who he would dress in a cow costume, and we just ignored them and just kept going. But I remember the year that I saw the man in the cow costume in the line for the free feast. And so I thought, okay, Krishna's kind, he'll have prasadam. So, and then too, we all were really basically trained with Prabhupada. He loved to give out cookies, especially to the children from the Vyasasana.
Oh, you got to see that in Los Angeles a lot.
Yeah. And sometimes an adult would sneak in there too. But Prabhupada really enjoyed giving prasadam to the devotees and especially to the children, the cookies on the Vyasasana. So it is important. And there's the pastime of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya when, Lord Chaitanya converted him and changed his consciousness. And one morning, Lord Chaitanya went to the temple, Jagannath temple, early in the morning, and the priest gave him garlands and Mahaprasad. And he went immediately to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya's house. Anybody been there to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya's home? Yeah, it's not very far from the temple. You can walk there. And so we go and we spend some time there. And so Lord Chaitanya, and it was early in the morning, and the Bhattacharya wasn't up yet. But he heard Lord Chaitanya, he became aware that Lord Chaitanya was outside. And he had been a Smarta Brahman, thank you, yeah. He was a Smarta Brahman, everything rules and regulations. But he got up out of his bed and went immediately, paid obeisances to Lord Chaitanya. And without even washing his mouth, he honored the prasadam the Mahaprasadam that Lord Chaitanya brought to him. Lord Chaitanya personally brought Jagannath Mahaprasadam to him, and it made the Lord very happy that he did that, without even following any of the rules and regulations. And that's how Mahaprasad is, right? Wherever it is, you're given it, whether it's dried, stale, we're to honor it right away. And it made Lord Chaitanya quite happy.
Even if you feel that you're not, I'm sure many of you are good cooks, but even if you feel you can't cook, well, we have so many wonderful cooks in our movement and so many wonderful cookbooks. There's Hemangi Radha, her daughter, wrote a beautiful cookbook. Joyful. It's joyful. Yeah, but there, and Mother Yamuna, so many good cooks. So, you just have to give it a go. Give it from a young age, boys and girls. Learn to cook nicely, offer nicely, and distribute prasadam. We're going to be running, we're running a little.
Yeah.
Oh, no, we're okay still.
We got 4 minutes.
Got a few more minutes. I'll tell just a little story. So this is a story of the 3 monks. Well, 4 monks. There's only 3 there, because I could only find a picture of 3. But anyway, a sage came and he said, one of you is a liberated soul, He told them, but each of them, they were thinking, well, it's not me, so maybe it's one of them. This is really another story about serving. And each and every one of them thought, well, it's not me, so it must be them. And so they all started serving each other, thinking that this person is, going to be the liberated one that's going to help us all become liberated. So the point is that in our communities, we don't know whoever. We've all come through many lifetimes, right, to this place, and we don't know each other's past, and hopefully we are assured of our futures. Well, we are assured of our futures. Srila Prabhupada and Krishna assures us of that. But sometimes we may have a relationship with devotee association, and I think we have to be very careful. Of course, we know about the offense to devotee, because we never know who it is. So by serving the devotees, serving each other, right, we will avoid making any offenses, and we will develop a more of a selfless attitude and make progress, because we never know who we're dealing with. We really don't. Sometimes a very advanced devotee may be, kind of in disguise in some way. There's another beautiful quote, but I think one may worship me within the Vaishnavas by offering loving friendship to them and honoring them in all respects. So that's another quote by Lord Krishna to Uddhava in the 11th canto. And lastly, before we're just going to have a few reflections. Did you have some reflections as well? This is because my dear god sister Nirakula, she lives amongst these redwood trees. I visited to their temple is called Silicon Valley, which was very beautiful, and then I went to see the redwood trees. And they grow very, very tall. Who's seen redwood trees? They grow very tall, but
they smell really good.
The roots don't go down, they spread out. This is an analogy Radhanath Swami shared, it's so beautiful. That the roots spread out and they nurture each other. So they got all their nourishment. Look at this beautiful picture of how they're supporting and nourishing each other so that they're so tall, it's unbelievable that the roots go down. But through creating these webs of friendships and association and nourishing and nourishing each other, they just grow so beautifully and majestically. So let's be flowers, help each other bloom, and let's be let's be trees tolerant. And there we go. Did you want? Oh, you shared some beautiful pastimes. When you're reading the Chaitanya Charitamrita, just reading of the loving pastimes, it's just so beautiful to read. So, I mean, I've got a little reading group with friends where we read Chaitanya Charitamrita. It's the second time we're reading through together because these pastimes of love, relationships between devotees are just so sweet. And actually even witnessing loving, like just coming, even seeing devotees hugging each other. And I remember once we were on Yatra in Mayapur, going to the different holy places, and we went to this one temple where this very, very old saintly Vaishnava, I think his name was Jagabandhu, he lived, and every time the devotees came in groups, he was very old, almost 100 years old, he would cook and serve the devotees. But that time we came with, I think it was Bhakti Trumaraj and Radhanath Swami, and I was just witnessing the exchange of love between these Vaishnavas, the respect they had for each other, how they honored each other, and just actually witnessing loving exchanges between devotees is so powerful and inspiring.
Yes.
So, yeah, please do dip in, not just dip in, but absorb yourself in Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's all the pastimes of all the Vaishnavas, because we're actually carrying on. This Sankirtan movement is carrying on. So, in years to come, people will read about the pastimes of the devotees of the UK Yatra, the Rise Retreat, dancing and singing together. Get it? I heard this the other day. Live it and give it. We've heard a lot today about sharing Krishna consciousness with others. They say that 85% of people join a group because of a friend, but most of them stay because of making new friends. So give it, share it, create beautiful sanghas. And these are just a few reflections. I think because Mother Vishaka Prabhu is just about to do her presentation. Yeah. So these are just things, thought bubbles for you to think about. How was my sadhu sangha this week? You can read one of them too. We can read all two.
Okay.
So yeah, how was my sadhu? Did I associate with devotees in a productive way that where we enlivened each other?
From whom did I get a teaching?
Yeah. To whom did I share something? Did I share something I read with someone, that I was talking to? Did I share something?
From whom did I receive encouragement, and to whom did I give encouragement?
Right. So yeah, just some things to think about. Oh yeah, there it is. How was my sadhusanga? With same thing here. So just some things to reflect on in your week. As we talked about having a balance in your week, your sadhana and your sadhusanga, right? All these things and how we love and help each other. And just to finish, because we say this prayer we used to say it. Actually, we used to go to each and every one of the devotees, because we had smaller temples then, every morning. Do you remember, Vishaka? We'd actually go up to each other, bow down to each and every, but now we say it all together.
Our knees were better then.
Our knees were better, absolutely. So, but when we read this, we can just say it all together and read the English translation, because it's absolutely what we're honoring each other. And it's just the most beautiful prayer. So shall we all say together? Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord, who can fulfill the desires of everyone, just like desire trees, and are full of compassion for the fallen conditioned souls. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Vaishnav Sangha ki Jai. Thank you all for, and we're available obviously all weekend, because
we're here all weekend.
We're here all weekend, and we're around. But if any of you have any questions, because we don't really have time now, or want to share anything, or encourage us, or inspire us, we'll be open to it. Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna.